Hey guys, this is our third Road to the Oscars episode. We're going to discuss the film Call Me By Your Name. It's been getting a lot of great reviews and praise, specifically for its two performances by Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer. We're going to talk about if it lives up to all the hype and all the buzz it's been getting, and much more on episode 16 of the Reel-ists podcast. Hey guys, welcome to the Reel-ists podcast. I'm Donnie.
And I'm Oscar.
And we have our producer Ruben here.
Hello.
Hey.
Nickname?
No nickname.
Okay.
We ain't got time for that. I'm just kidding. No, honestly, I was trying to think of a nickname at work and I couldn't. Aww. So I'm open to suggestions if you have one.
Record ends at 6 episodes. I don't know.
I think it was like, I think I got like five or six.
We need a fact checker. We need someone that can keep tabs with like these little things.
Yeah, seriously. So just wanted to mention a couple of things. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're listening to us, we want to say thank you so much for being faithful listeners. And we want to encourage you, if you would please be as so kind as to share us with everyone you know, coworkers, family, friends, your neighbors, the milkman, the mailman, your pet groomer, anyone. Have them please just listen to our podcast or check out the Reel-ists podcast. We're on social media, so you can follow us at Team Reel-ists on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Team Reel-ists, Team Relists, no dash. And we are on Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes, YouTube, and our website, thereelispodcast.libsyn.com.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm just coming for it.
Dang.
So we would appreciate if you could just spread the word and just remember to check in with us every Thursday because we're putting out new episodes every Thursday. And is that it?
That covers that.
I think that covers that part of it.
I mean, what are we, Donnie? Why should someone listen? What are we?
I mean, you should listen to the Reel-ists podcast because in the Reel-ists podcast,
at the Reel-ists
podcast, hashtag the Reel-ists podcast. No, so basically, if you're listening to us for the first time, our podcast is basically where we review films and consider how certain scenes and aspects tie into real life. So we try to look at everything from a realistic standpoint, while also, just kind of discussing different aspects to the film. So that's what we're about. If you're into that, keep on listening. So in this episode, we're going to talk about a film that has been getting a lot of buzz.
A lot
of buzz. Called Me By Your Name. Oscar and I watched this. How long ago did we watch this?
I was like, are you saying my name? Call me by your name.
Oscar. Oh, no. Donnie. We watched this a couple weeks ago.
No, it's Oscar, because it's Call Me.
It's Call Me By Your Name. So
Oscar for you.
I would
Donnie
no,
for me.
No, because Elio in the okay. Spoiler alert! This episode does contain spoilers, just so you guys know. We can get into
we'll go
into that later. But initially, Oscar, Call Me By Your Name. How do you feel about it? What'd you think? What are your thoughts?
I mean, we kind of watched this initially. This was before it was announced for like awards. We kind of watched this kind of because of the talk that was building for this movie. And as we were watching it, it was definitely one of those, I was like, this is not the kind of movie I watch. This is definitely one of those.
It's definitely not the kind of movie you watch. It's definitely the kind of movie I watch.
It's definitely not my cup of tea or whatever the expression can be said. So sitting through it was painful. No, just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Sitting through it was just definitely different for me. So I had to really, know that this wasn't a plot-driven story. This was a character-driven story, which I do like in movies. And I think I got the enjoyment as it kept going. I think by the midway point, I understood what the story was taking place, what was going on in this movie. Mm-hmm. So I really started enjoying it. I really started appreciating it. I remember at first, at the conclusion of it, I was like, well, that's done. But then I really started to think about it more. And I was fascinated as I found out more information. Like, I really thought Armie Hammer's character was older. Mm-hmm. Like, I really thought he was, like, in his mid-30s kind of character, and he's falling in love with an 18-year-old kind of thing. I was like, well, that's kind of a little disturbing.
Yeah.
But his character is actually, like, 24, I think? Like, mid-20s? Like, very young.
Mm-hmm.
Reasonable
young 20s.
Comparison to fall in love with the main character. So my initial thoughts was a little bit kind of first of like, why am I watching this? I'm not really, this is not my kind of movie. I should just let Donnie finish this. I'll probably watch something else. But no, as I let it, watch it, I really did enjoy the story. I was very fascinated about the love between the two characters, and yeah, I enjoyed it. And looking back at it, I would see it with a different perspective now. So I think that would be an interesting view to see it again. I've only seen it once. We've only seen it once.
Right.
So
speak for yourself. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I've only seen it once too. Just to give the listeners a little context, here's a description of the film. It's the summer of 1983, and precocious 17-year-old Elio Perlman is spending the days with his family at their 17th century villa in Lombardy, Italy. He soon meets Oliver, a handsome doctoral student who's working as an intern for Elio's father. Amid the summer-drenched splendor of their surroundings, Elio and Oliver discover the heady beauty of awakening desire over the course of a summer that will alter their lives forever.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So my initial thoughts of the film, initially, as we were watching it, like you said, it's not a plot-driven film. It is definitely a character-driven film. So initially, when probably the first half of the film, I was thinking, oh, okay, it's kind of slow-paced. When's it going to pick up? And I think by the second half of the film, I got it, and I was like, okay, it's not about trying to entertain me as much as it is for us to witness this relationship and this bond forming between two people. So by the end of the film, yes, I was I was complete. I was like, okay,
It completes me.
It completes me. I was really, one thing that I think about when I think of this film is just the location. So it was supposed to be in this supposed to be the 17th century villa in Italy, and it was very just lush and kind of luxurious. And
was it really? I didn't even know about the time period. Sorry, go ahead. That part was new.
What?
The time period it was taking place.
Well, it was the villa was it was in 1983. It wasn't shot in the 17th century.
The location was reminiscent of
of that time period.
I was like, man, I swear I thought it was modern. But
No,
okay.
I swear I thought it was the 80s film, but or it took place in the 80s. But I was really, it just was beautiful. I really feel like everything that was in every shot was there for a reason. It wasn't just so it was to kind of be aesthetically pleasing or to give it a fancy look or things like that. I feel like everything in the shot was used in terms of for instance, there was a piano in their living room, and it's Elio played the piano and practiced it, all the time. Or all the books on the shelf case, those were books that actually him and his family read, or
his father was a professor.
His father was a professor, so they were smart, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Or the trees outside, the peach trees, the peach orchards, they would pick the fruit off of them and actually eat it. So there was nothing that was in their immediate surroundings that it wasn't anything was there just to be there. So I really it really tied the characters together, and it really helped the audience to see this is their day-to-day life, at least for the summer while they're in Italy,
Right.
So I really liked that. Obviously, the performances from Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer were great. More so for me, Timothée Chalamet, I think, really just hit it out of the park with this.
It was a demanding role. I mean, it wasn't just you're playing just a 16-year-old. You're playing a 16-year-old trying to really
17-year-old.
17. Well, okay.
But yeah.
You're really trying to be in that state where you're trying to become your own person and really trying to establish who you are, kind of thing. But at the same time, you're a teenager and you're just really kind of your emotions are everywhere, kind of thing. So it was a very demanding role, and because you have to believe that he's actually falling in love with Oliver,
mm-hmm.
and to kind of be in that state where you're in that position as a teenager, but at the same time you're really having your first love and all that. It was a very demanding role, and there were some scenes that was whoa, and it's asking for a lot.
Yeah,
so
it was definitely asked a lot of him, and it's funny because I think. Because he was also obviously in Lady Bird too, and it's a completely different character. A teenager. He was. I feel with Lady Bird, he was a teenager that kind of thought he knew it all, and there was a part in there where he was like, "Oh, I don't smoke those kind of cigarettes. I only smoke hand-rolled cigarettes because it's, you know, it's blah blah blah." Something artsy fartsy.
We're not in that movie, Donnie. Get out of that movie.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, but compared to his character in this film, where I feel like his character is just totally like polar opposites from that film. So which is cool to see, like him, like both of those movies kind of came out back to back, but they were completely different. The roles were completely different, and but yeah, I think he, like you said, he was asked to do a lot in this performance. It was very like a soul bearing performance. I felt
right.
Like
that's the like part that got me.
Yeah,
it was just like both of them had it. Well, Oliver's, it was always kind of like, are you just teasing him? Are you really like having feelings towards him? It was one of those where I wasn't sure what his position was, and it's kind of tough because he does leave.
Yeah,
he does decide to leave, you know, to go back and pursue some other things. So it's kind of one of those where it's like, man, like this was real for what was it? Elio.
Mm-hmm.
Elio. I'm trying to think of a nickname for him, but I can't.
You call him E. Easy E.
But yeah, like for his character, like that was like pure love, and I didn't get that same feeling for Oliver, but there was definitely something. There was something. It wasn't just like, I'm in a different country. I'm, you know, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas kind of thing. It to some extent it was real, but at the same time, I guess the age difference, or, you know, the maturity for Oliver was one of those. It's like, I know nothing can happen from this, but doesn't mean we can't enjoy what we currently have in front of us.
I think that was always the mindset too. Like Oliver knew he was there only for such amount of time. He was studying with Elio's father. Said he was like working on his doctorate degree or something. And I think yeah, for sure Elio knew, like, I'm only going to be here for a couple of weeks. And not to say that Elio didn't know that, because other students have come to stay with them for this over the summers before. And they referenced that, and he had said something like, "Oh, is this going to be like the last one?" or something like that. So I think they both knew that their time was limited, but I think for Elio, it like all that went out the window once he started to develop feelings for Oliver, and once he started to fall in love, and he kind of like, he didn't really know, I guess, where it was going to go or how it was going to end. And Oliver probably had a better idea, probably had a better understanding that this is limited. Let's just kind of live in the moment and enjoy. I think there was just kind of like a naivete with Elio, just because of his age. And it's, you know, he, I guess, maybe never had a relationship that deep and that intense. So, you know, like there was a slight age difference. And
I did not expect, well, I could see it, but I did not expect watching it, those intense, like, sex, I won't even say sex scenes, but
they were just intimate scenes.
It was very intimate scenes. The peach
scene.
Oh man, there was so many things that.
Dang, I thought you were gonna like just say the peach scene. You have to go into that.
Oh, I mean,
you know what? It's really, you know what's really cool too is like
both. Again, one's all over.
Both of them are straight. Like both of them are heterosexual actors. So it's like, and I've never.
Are you bringing controversy into this?
No, I'm just saying I've never seen. I guess I've never seen two heterosexual actors portray scenes like that and make it look so authentic and so real. Like you
haven't seen it. No, I don't know. I was just.
Oh, because you've seen so many.
I've seen so many. I have a wide collection of all.
Well, I just even think back to, like, you know, kind of like, I think, a Brokeback Mountain, you know, how, like, between Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal, and they were great. I mean, they were great in that film, and they had chemistry and you believe their love, but I feel like there was kind of, it didn't get as intimate as it did in Call Me by Your Name.
Right.
And that was something that I wasn't expecting. Especially, I mean, it's one, I won't
for sure. No, I definitely get, and Elio.
You call him whatever you like.
What is it? Elio?
I think it's Elio, but whatever you remember.
Have you seen it, Ruben?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Is it Elio? Can you
it's Elio.
Our fact checkers.
Checking?
No, I think it's Elio, but like,
Or is it Elio?
he was going the common route of like, oh, I got a girlfriend and all that, and it was a summer fun. The thing was, he was still having his summer routine. Like, he was going out late and, you know, going to the lake. I don't know if it was like, maybe it was lake. I don't know, whatever it was, with his friends. He was still being himself. Like, it wasn't like he was completely like dropping everything for Oliver. I mean, it slowly progressed that, but I think that was just like, it was one of those things where it's a coming of age story for him, but that's not what the movie's about. It's a part of it, but it's not. So I mean, there was a lot of things like that was just like, it didn't go any traditional cliche routes.
Yeah,
when it embraced their love, it embraced it in a way that you don't really see, and I think that's probably what you just said. I think
you see it unfold. Like, you're slowly watching this bond and this relationship develop over the course of the film. It doesn't follow the cliche like points like, oh, they meet, you know, instantly they fall in love, and then they're together, and then they're a couple, and then Elio starts dropping everything in his life to be with Oliver, and Oliver does the same, and it's like, it doesn't hit those like cliche points. It's like you're literally, and that's, I think, what speaks to kind of the pace of the film, because it is a little slower paced, but it's like, going back to letting it breathe. I need to stop saying that. I won't say that anymore. But it does. It does. Yeah, for real. But it does. You literally. It's like, it's a very organic unfolding of this relationship. It's nothing. Films, I think, a lot of times try to rush it. Try to like, okay, they meet. There's a spark. They fall in love. You know, they're hitting these points.
Right,
but I feel like this doesn't do that, because at the end of the day. And what I love about this film too, it's like they're not defining what they are. It's never like, are you my boyfriend? Aren't you my boyfriend? You know, are we gay? Are we not gay? Are we bisexual? I have a girlfriend. Like, they don't try. You know, there's not a whole lot of labels or like trying to put things into categories. It's just letting it be and just letting everything just happen naturally and just being in the moment, which is what I love about this film.
I'm curious is whether the book is like that. Now, I didn't read the book, so I can't compare it and say this is very accurate. Maybe it's just inspired by a lot of things in the book. Donnie, I think you wanted to read the book, so let me know. We have to have that discussion after you get a chance to read that book.
Right.
But
I do want to read the book.
It is one of those. Yeah, I totally agree with you 100% in what you're saying, in that it's one that you just really have to let it unfold. You can't get your, by the 20-minute mark they met and they're in love, because at that point you don't believe it. And I think this is one that you really have to be careful with, because it's not they're the same age. It's not they're same jobs, or it's not like the common things where you in romance movies you meet someone. It's not. It was definitely one of those where that at first you don't think that that's going to be what the movie's about. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, if you just start watching the movie, not reading the plot, or not going into any of that kind of thing, if you just start watching the movie, you don't think that's what the movie's going to go with, and so I think that's probably a good thing in this sense. So that was definitely interesting. I mean, the pacing is one of the things that I have a problem with. Mm-hmm. I understand it, I really do, but there was nothing that was getting me interested at first. Like, you have to see those crucial moments where they actually start interacting that really starts to get it more interesting. So
I do think I totally agree, because I felt that way too. But now I feel like, I think the pace of this film is what adds to the realism of the film, because they are spending a summer together in it. Well, not together. They're all together, yes, but they're spending a summer in Italy, and a lot of the days are just them. I mean, a lot of the shots are them lying on the grass and reading a book, or swimming in the lake, or riding their bike into town. Like, so it's like all those kind of scenes where it seems like it may kind of drag out or whatever. I think it just adds to like the realistic nature of the film, because at least for me, I feel like I was there. Like, it's not like they were showing me all the highlights of that summer, or all the fun things, or all the energetic scenes, or anything like that. I mean, they had some, but for a lot of it was just kind of lounging around. Like, a good portion of it was like just the feel of the scenes. So I think that kind of made it more realistic, and made it more like, kind of, I don't know, like I was like I wasn't watching a movie, but I was just kind of hanging out lounging out with them, if that makes sense. That's kind of
But not to like home video kind of watching though. Not like that though.
No. I mean, it's still a film, but like I just think it's a different feel.
Which is very interesting because when you get those kinds of movies that are different, you are taken aback by it because you're just like, wait a minute, I've been fed one way of how to watch, romance movies, and here's something completely different.
Yeah,
this
isn't following the classic film formula. What's going on?
That's true. I mean, a lot of the scenes though, once they are intimate, a lot of the scenes are kind of, whoa, they're going there. Okay, we're going there.
I didn't think it was that.
No?
No.
Ruben didn't think it was that intimate.
I mean,
No.
you need to know, Ruben. I don't watch these kinds of movies, so I don't know. Like
They go crazier on regular straight movies. I feel like this one they didn't even
scratch the surface
of what could happen.
They like the biggest intimate scene, like the camera just pans away.
Yeah, that is true. I was gonna say that.
It doesn't even show anything. Like,
yeah.
Brokeback Mountain, I think they show more than they do here.
I didn't see Brokeback Mountain. See.
But I mean,
I
even
think
then it's still like not showing you everything.
So Ruben's saying that it's not that they're not showing that much. A lot of it is implied. It's not like there's ever a completely like nude scene, or you're not seeing full frontal, or you're not seeing super intimate scenes that we've seen in other films, straight films, like what Ruben said. Do you think that is because it's between two men? That maybe, I mean, like, is
that why?
No, but I mean, is that why maybe people think it, like, when we think, oh, it's so intimate and it's so exposing.
Well, I mean, I still had, mind you, when I saw this, I really thought he was an older man. So I was having issues with like an older man doing this, because that's, I don't know about if it's overseas, but that's against the law.
Well, the age of consent, I learned in
US of
Italy.
A.
In Italy, is 14. And he was 17, so he was like, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation.
Right, but I mean, so that was, I mean, I guess, my collection of those kinds of movies is very small. I think the movies that I would think of when I think of romance are like 13 going on 30, like the PG-13 movies.
I haven't. Did you just say 13 going on 30 is a romance film?
I don't want to say romance, but I meant like those kinds of like love is like not. I know it's not a romance movie. It's a comedy.
Yeah.
But like I haven't seen those other movies that you probably guys are referring to that is more intimate. So to me, this was like one of my first movies that I've seen like that. I keep it in the genre that I know.
Keep it G.
I keep it G.
Keep it G, maybe PG.
Yeah, holding hands is acceptable, but when they get close and they want to kiss, that's when I got to turn away.
Yeah.
Turn away. But no, it's so. I mean, that's just my, I guess, personal perspective. I'm sure if you're a film critic, if you if your job is to watch movies or you love romance movies, I'm sure probably you guys are probably right on that it wasn't as much, but for me it
wasn't as revealing as it could have been. Not that it needed to be. I don't think it needed to be any more revealing. I think it was great. I think they captured it great. But it definitely, we've seen other films with
compared to other.
I mean, even like PG-13 films, they can get pretty racy.
What other movies? What movies should it be compared to in that sense then?
50 Shades. I think they're both R now.
Call Me by Your Name is R, I think.
Yeah, 50
Shades for sure is R.
And they show way
I haven't seen 50 Shades.
We haven't seen 50 Shades, but Ruben, we take your word for it.
Overall, they show more, not so much skin, but it's just the scenes are more dragged out. It's all about like, let's watch, and you're just watching.
Yeah, it's like.
Whereas this, they could have done like, we're just gonna show like the back of their heads or whatever.
Or they could have like the scene where it was allotted that they were gonna go make love. They could have showed like facial expressions or grunting or moans, but they didn't. They didn't show any of that. Like they literally,
showing but not showing.
Right. So it's like they literally the camera panned out, and then when they came back to them, it was done.
And I feel like that was good.
I still feel like that was too much for me. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean they definitely show more with straight couples. They like prolong it as
I mean,
long
that's-
as possible.
Yeah, but that's a separate conversation though. Like that in itself is.
We should have given Ruben a mic. He
Right.
got a lot to say.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah, I know this one. I didn't know he saw it. I thought he.
Yeah, I didn't know you saw this film.
Thanks for mentioning that.
Not after, sorry.
Ah, you should have told us.
Right.
Now I'm gonna be insecure about what I say.
No,
So
that was the only thing that I made a mental note of. That I did notice that I was like, they didn't
Yeah,
show a lot.
it was a lot of it was just implied. It wasn't. They didn't show much.
Well, the implied made me think, and that was too much.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm sorry.
So I should not
next
watch
time if
50
there's
Shades.
I will watch a movie before you, and then I will tell you when to cover your eyes and close your ears,
Okay.
or
I
close your eyes and
appreciate
cover
that.
your ears. Speaking of, you had mentioned age, and I know that was one thing that kind of people were, not a lot of people, but some people were discussing, because he's 17, Elio is 17 in the film, and Oliver is 24-ish.
Don't look
I think it was
24.
because they were 7 years apart. He's 7 years older. So some people had some negative comments to say, and specifically an actor by the name of, I think his name's James Wood. He said something along the lines of, this film just demolished any last bit of decency that we have as people. And he was specifically talking about the age.
Because it don't look right. They don't look 24. That's why I had a problem with it.
I think it's because Timothée Chalamet looks so young. It's not even just the face, it's physicality. He's a really small guy, really very slender guy.
Can't wait to have him be like, oh, so I heard your episode that you did on my movie. You got something to say?
Yeah, you're a small guy and you're slender. Like, it's a compliment. And Oliver is a kind of more, like stocky built, taller man. And the way they dressed him too is kind of like made him look older. So I think it's just they both look like Timothy looks younger and Army looks older.
12 and 32.
I wouldn't say all that now. You're just
14
being
and
ridiculous.
32.
No way. No, he does not look 12. He looks like 16.
15 and 32.
Anyways, but I think, despite the age, I think I don't think it's not about the age. I think when I saw this film, I was thinking, okay, I wonder why they made him 17, because they could have, why they made
Read the book.
Oliver 24. I know, pretty much, right? My point was that the age for him, for Timothée Chalamet's character Elio, he was 17, and I feel like they captured the kind of, like I said, the naivete, because when you're that young, there's already so many emotions going through you. Like, you're just trying to cope with, like, how to deal with life and how to come into adulthood and how to, like, prepare yourself for this next journey in life. Just dealing with that by yourself is already hard enough. So to, like, kind of connect with someone and, like, have all of these intense, immediate feelings for them, like, that even adds more complexity to it, which I feel like the film was able to capture it pretty well, and it, and going towards, like, the scene when it's time for Elio and Oliver to say goodbye, and Oliver has to go, and when Elio is kind of like, he tries to accept it, but you can see how heartbroken he is, and towards the end of the film you can see, like, just how heartbroken he is. It's like, that was tough to watch. Like, you felt so bad for him. At least I did.
Well, no, I mean, it's one of those stories that, when you fall in love with someone, you fall in love with them in a different way. And I mean, it was more hard for him to say that than Oliver. Oliver was kind of just like, I'm going to miss you. We definitely had fun together, but it wasn't the same that that Elio had. So, yeah, no, I 100% agree with that too. It was one of those where you saw someone fall in love deeply with someone, and it's like, I guess it wasn't gonna work out in the situation because he was still young. He was still gonna, grow and develop, and I don't know if that's what Oliver knew. I don't know if that, if that was in his thought at all. But yeah, it was unfortunate to see, that heartbreak, and I think that last scene of him crying at the fireplace with the credits rolling was, you know, an amazing shot.
So good. It was like a 2-minute shot. Like the camera did not look away.
No.
And he had to like, that was hard. I mean, that must be really hard to do as an actor. I can imagine. To like, I don't know, not rely on editing or not rely, like it has to just be one shot and you have to stay in that kind of.
It depends on how many shots was taken for it. If it was a lot, then yeah, to keep it going. But if it was like a one take and they just did that one take, maybe 2 takes, I could see to think emotionally for that long when it's not real, when you're not really, unless maybe, who knows, maybe, I don't know if he's a method actor. I don't know if he was like thinking of it like a dead puppy or something like that.
That's what you would have thought of.
That's what I would have thought of.
That's what brings the waterworks to Oscar. Anything with
it
puppies.
Was so young. But yeah, that for sure. It's definitely, it's a story that you believe the love. I believed the love, at least of what the relationship. I believed it. I wasn't questioning the relationship. I don't think it's bad at all. Like that was really well developed in the relationship. Even if it wasn't a lover side, even if they went like a, you know, friendship route or whatever, like just their natural progressions was kind of a natural thing that you'd have with anyone in real life. Friendship, you know, love, interest. You start slow and it develops. Mm-hmm. Things just click, things connect in ways you can't really describe. And I think that's kind of one of the things with the movie. It's like you can't really describe what they saw in each other. It was just something that
like only those two know what it was.
Yeah.
Only Elio and Oliver know what it
right.
was.
And they didn't do any cliche route of like we both love purple, like, or we both love, you know, like they didn't go with one.
They
of
didn't
those,
pick
like,
one single thing that like drew them to
right.
Like, you know, like
yeah.
Oh, you love rock music?
You love rock music.
I do want to say that one of my favorite characters from this film is the father, and I think he. So when you,
I'm talking just his monologue was great.
This could have easily been like a Forbidden Love kind of movie, you know, like where it's like, oh, like we want to, it feels so right, but it's so wrong, you know, could have had like disapproving parents or just, you know, negative opinion where it could have forced them to feel like they had to like kind of sneak around or make it feel like it was taboo. Like in Brokeback Mountain, we keep referring to that one, but like Brokeback Mountain, where like they had to like go hide in a mountain and be in love, and you know if anyone found out, it would be devastating and it would be terrible. Whereas like this film, it really there wasn't anybody that was kind of like, you know, rooting against them, or like his parents, I think, were pretty obvious. They pretty much knew what was going on. The dad for sure could see the relationship that was forming, and he was basically all for it and very approving of it, which I thought was really cool and done really beautifully. And
is that why it's one of your favorite characters? Because he accepted his son's love with his student? Well, that sounded dirtier than...
Yeah, dude. I just think he kind of...
I mean, because supporting characters really didn't get a chance to shine in this one. They were definitely there. I'm not saying they weren't present, but this movie really gave him like little to do. So
yeah, but I think with what he was given, he was able to do a lot. Like even in the scene where it was him and Oliver, and they were looking through old clips of like different statues and things like that, and he was kind of talking to Oliver, and he was saying, look at it was like a sculpture of like a body or something, like a man's body, and he was like, look at the way it's defined, and it's almost daring to be desired. And even in that scene, it kind of seemed like he was kind of egging Oliver on even a little bit in that scene, like, you know, just speaking to like kind of what was forming between him and Elio, just little things like that. And obviously, I mean, the main thing that a lot of critics are praising is that monologue. They said that it's...
Oh, we're there now. Got it.
Yeah, we're there.
That monologue of really telling him without like doing that uncomfortable way. It was not the like, it's okay, son. You do. It was like a really nice, almost poetic way of like appreciating just his son and appreciating what love is, and in a sense almost being jealous that, you know, it was a love that you don't always get like in that manner. You don't it's a feeling that you can't really describe, but he was just like happy for his son. So I thought that was, it was really powerful monologue that, at first you just think it's going to be like one of those like common talks, or it's going to be awkward and the dad's going to try and, he's just not going to get it. But no, he got it. He nailed it.
So he said two things that he said that really stuck out to me. One thing he said, we rip out so much of ourselves to not feel. And then he said, when we go bankrupt by the age of 30. And I thought that was like, whoa. I don't know why. That just hit me like a wave. And then the other thing that he said that was probably my favorite line was he said, obviously he was speaking to Elio's like sadness at this point. He was heartbroken. Oliver had gone and left. And he said, but he said to not feel anything so that you can feel nothing is a waste. And I totally understand what he, like, in that moment, what he was saying. Like, even though it's going to come with, love may come with heartbreak and sadness, and you might go through things that are going to cause you to like cause pain, but like to still feel those emotions and to still embrace that is basically what the message of it was, which I thought was really beautiful. And the thing I liked about the monologue is if you had just only listened to the dad speaking and you didn't see who he was talking to, you wouldn't think that he was talking to his 17-year-old son. I mean, dads they don't talk like that to their adolescent teens most of the time. It's not, I mean, like you said, you would have assumed it would have been kind of a cliche, like, oh, don't worry, pal, like you're gonna find another love of your life, trust me, like I know he's out there. It wasn't like that. He was really just being like super real, super, like he was laying down some wisdom. So if the camera wasn't panning back to Timothy and you didn't see who he was talking to, he could have been talking to, I for sure would have thought he was talking to an adult, definitely
Oliver.
Not a 17-year-old.
Oliver.
Yeah, even Oliver, like, but not his adolescent son. No way. I mean, the subject matter was just so deep. Like what he was saying, his words were so deep and so wise. Even the way he was saying it. So I don't know. I just that was just really beautiful to me, and that's my favorite scene of the film. Pretty much.
We're doing it just like the movie. We're just gonna let it simmer for 2 minutes.
We're gonna let it breathe.
No, that is my favorite scene as well.
No.
He already does this.
Was that really your favorite scene?
That was.
Okay.
It was that one, and in between the end credits, the long thing. But that I don't really call that a scene. So that's why I didn't pick it. But yeah, no, the monologue was definitely one of those. I mean, there's a lot of scenes that I come to think of, but I don't think I would want to call it my favorite scene. There's a lot of scenes that, yes, come to mind that, I think of, like their time at their lake when it's just them two, and they almost kiss in that first moment when they're standing in the water. I thought that was when they were going to kiss, so I was caught by surprise they didn't, and then they end up kissing a little bit later when they were laying down. So, I mean, there were some things there that, yeah, I can recall as, like, one of the highlights, but as favorite scenes, and you covered a lot of it, so I'm not going to, repeat it. But it was just delivered beautifully in a way that it wasn't like, a father talking down, or it wasn't his father trying to, like tell his kid that everything's going to be all right. It wasn't one of those like common routes that, a father normally falls into, because it's just one of those tough situations where he's like, what do I say? He knew exactly what to say. And so I thought that was really, really awesome to see that. I mean, what I didn't expect it, I think, would be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, there was hints that he was, like, aware of it. But sometimes it looks like they did not know what was going on. Like, I guess they were just really turning the eye kind of thing. But, yeah, so it was just unexpected, and it was really, really nice.
Okay. So it brings us to our real score for the film. I'm going to try to guess yours. We didn't do that the last episode, but I'm going to try to guess yours. I think you're going to give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Dang. Just went.
That's a 3.
No. Oh, my gosh. Oh, is that what your guess was?
No. Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, my gosh. No, it was a 4.
Really?
Yeah.
What did I say? 3.5?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, I was only half a reel off.
I don't know where you guys got this like down like neck like dang. All I said was it was intimate for me, and apparently that just
No, you said a lot more than that. But go ahead. Do you want to say why 3 point or why 4?
it's a really great story. I really love the 2 characters. The reasons why it doesn't go higher, I do feel like the supporting cast did unfortunately get shelved, and I feel like it would have been a great opportunity to show the parents like kind of watching this as well and kind of getting to know them more. Why are they accepting of it? This is the 80s. This isn't a thing now. Like, this isn't a modern day setting where, you know, most parents are accepting this. And it's still a thing where some parents don't accept it. So what was it that they accepted? I mean, I know the father delivered a speech about love and, you know, all that stuff. But the mom? What about the mom? You know, and the girlfriend was, you know, kind of there as well. And at the minute he was like, I don't love you like that, she just disappeared. So, like, there was a lot of things that I felt like would have been nice to show supporting characters really kind of, you know, this is a story that affected a lot, or the people around them, and I think that would have been something to really been interested in. The first half, the pacing was something, as you know, as I mentioned, you know, if it didn't pick up, if it went longer than, you know, what it did, then it's possible. I probably would have tuned out. I probably would have zoned out and started, you know, counting down the clock, looking at the clock, looking at, okay, there's 30 minutes left, there's 45, you know, whatever. So, I mean, those are things that, yeah, initially did take me out of this movie. It wasn't until I started to see, all right, now I get what's going on. I mean, yeah, I knew what the plot was, but the plot is just a way to tell you the brief overview of what takes place. But to see it, you know, actually executed is a different thing. So, yeah, for those reasons, you know, I don't want to give it a high score. But once the second half picks in, you know, you're hooked. You want to see it play out. You know, you are attached to these characters, to the 2 main characters, and I kind of wish the ending did kind of give a conclusion. I mean, it sounds pretty straightforward that Oliver is not coming back, right? It didn't sound like he was gonna be like, I'll be back, or
No, it didn't sound like that. But I did read something. So first of all, this book is, I guess, is a part of like a series,
oh wow,
and the writer. I don't know if it was the writer of the book or the writer of, I think it was the director. They were saying that they would want to do a sequel. And it would be like when, as Elio and Oliver are a little older.
You too can call me by
You too, number 2. No, I know. Which I was like, what? I did not expect that at all. To like, I thought this was like a one and done. Like, that's
right.
it. So like to try to, I mean, it'd be cool to do a sequel. I just that came out of left field when I read that. I was like, what? So it was interesting. But
what's your score?
what's my score? I don't know. You guess.
A 4.
Yeah, it is. Good job.
That's right.
For the same reasons you said, the pacing, which I know that might not bother a lot of people, like, and I do love to just watch character driven films, and like I said, looking back on it now, like I was appreciative that it let this relationship blossom and form organically, but the pacing was just a touch slow. I feel like it could have been handled a little bit differently, but man, I don't know, saying it out loud, I kind of don't, like, I'm not trying to contradict myself here. No, I don't know. I don't want to talk about the pacing. One of the things that I do wish had happened, I wish they would have given a little more a little more info on Oliver.
Yeah.
We didn't really know, like you said, he kind of came in and then he left. Like, we didn't really know much about him.
Yeah. I mean, he's almost a supporting character to an extent, and just Elio being the main character.
Yeah, I mean, the perspective is through Elio.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But doesn't mean he couldn't be a main character. They just opted to go that route, that he plays this part of his life rather than he is another character that we're witnessing in this story.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, yeah, for that reason,
You gave it a 4.
yeah, it was good. It was a really good film. I do want to watch it again.
Clearly, I need to see these movies that you guys talk about more intimate, so I can really downplay
Give it a
this.
list.
Right. So
I mean, it's not.
So I can come back.
It's like any film nowadays that like you act like there's like not that many films that have all
that
this.
I feel like that I haven't
intimacy
seen. Like,
I mean, you only watch Marvel films, so.
Yeah.
well, not
Maybe
just
it's
Not
Marvel.
anymore. I'm just
Maybe
kidding.
it's
That wasn't fair. Sorry, I take that back. You don't only watch Marvel films.
I don't feel like maybe you just don't watch enough dramas. I feel
Right.
like maybe that's where you would see it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
Like your romantic movies are rom-coms.
Exactly,
Romantic comedies.
Like
right. That's
13
what I'm
going on
saying.
30.
Like,
Yeah. Like his favorite film.
His favorite romance film, 13 going on 30.
I was trying to do the whole age. There's an age gap, whatever. That's what came to mind.
Okay.
But like, yeah, I mean, I just know I need to go look at more. Okay, that is not right. I want to take that back. I need to.
We'll send you a compilation.
I don't know how to phrase it, but the point is,
YouTube video.
if there's things that have been more than what I saw, then I have to see that to really be like, okay, yeah, that was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But my library is very short.
Okay. We'll expand it.
Yeah.
We'll work on that. That'll be the
But
mission this week.
everyone, all the team realists can tell us. Maybe they can recommend some movies that I should see in that sense. I don't know about see.
It's actually, yeah.
I don't know about recommending that. Like, I
mean,
need to see, but
maybe not need to see, but Oscar's obviously asking for a list of films with more racy scenes. So why don't you go on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, Team Realists, and let Oscar know what
that's
films
a whole
he could.
Another subject of what that's called if I want what I'm looking for.
I mean, all right, now I'm not taking it there. You're taking it there.
Wow.
With that said, that was our recap of Call Me by Your Name. But we definitely want to hear what you guys think. If we want to hear your thoughts on the film, do you think the performances were as superb as they are getting recognized to be? Do you think
Should
the
it
pacing of
win?
the film was too slow, or did you like the pacing of the film? Did it add to the story for you? Just let us know your thoughts.
Is it a Best Picture winner?
Do you think it'll win Best Picture at the Academy Awards?
I don't think so.
Oh, well. Okay, Oscar doesn't think so. I wasn't going to say if I did or not, but...
I don't think so. I mean, it's not to say that it's not worthy of it. I just feel like the competition, I could see where one upset than the other. But
Yeah. Well,
if we're talking about coming of age and, well, yeah, yes, but
we will
don't
see.
let that stop. Don't let me stop you.
we will see. You kind of did, but it's fine. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Team Realists. That's Team REELISTS. And remember to tune in on Thursdays for our new episodes. And I think that's about it.
Sounds good.
Sounds great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.